Hello and welcome to Love and the Planets, and I'm Margaret Gray in Dublin.
And I'm Armand Diaz on Long Island.
So Armand, what's in store for relationships this coming week?
It's hard to say, but I think that Mars turning direct on Monday is going to give it's certainly a green light for a lot of things in life and relationships. It is certainly a bit of a green light for those of you that have been holding back on beginning a more sexual stage of your relationship. It's kind of a green light for that. So that's something.
It's really a feeling of energy moving forward, isn't it? Because we've talked a lot about all these retrogrades, and it's a bit like being in a car, and it's like we're trying to go forward, but instead it just keeps reversing. And there's so much frustration attached to that, and people have been asking us, when is there going to be any movement? When can I do something? And now we're saying the time has come. So next week, absolutely, it's the time to, if you wanted to call somebody, if you wanted to go on a date, if you wanted to, as you say, go a step forward, and also even if you haven't had contact with somebody and you're kind of been thinking about them, even family, friends, maybe in other countries and so on, this is the time. Pick up the phone. Best time to do it.
Yeah, all of the retrogrades over the summer, Mercury and Mars, Mars retrograde is a big deal. Mercury retrograde was, I think, a very big deal this time around. It was a real bear of a retrograde. But Mars retrograde is a tough one. And, for most of September, we do have kind of the green light in general in the skies. And that's got to feel better. Yeah, it's like driving with the emergency brake on when Mars is retrograde.
Yes, it's just the frustration. Now, we've had that kind of sense of frustration and being in limbo really since the end of June. So that's quite a lot. It's really been most of the summer. So now that we're starting going towards the fall a little bit, in our hemisphere, we're really kind of starting to, just get ready to take action. Now, it doesn't go back to the point where it went retrograde until October 9th, just to be clear about that, because at the moment, of course, Mars is back in Capricorn. So Mars in Capricorn is kind of an interesting energy because it's really about, it's very tenacious, incredibly hardworking. It really motivates us, but it tends to go by the rules a little bit. Whereas when Mars goes back into Aquarius, that's really, I think, a much more freedom-loving Mars. So I think that's going to give us even more sense of freedom.
It definitely opens up more in the way of social possibilities and so on. It gets you more psyched for getting out, I think. Mars in Capricorn is great for doing something if you got a task to fulfill, but Mars in Aquarius is much more outgoing, expansive type of thing.
So probably a good time to work on relationships. Sorry to interrupt you. I wanted to make sure I didn't forget this because Mercury is still a little bit in shadow, but that actually to actually do something, to plan something. So to make a list to do with relationship, to really think about what needs fixing, what needs mending, what maybe went a little bit, haywire over the summer.
Sun in Virgo will help. That's another. Let's make some lists. That sounds very Virgo. Yes. But Mercury goes on to square Jupiter on Tuesday. We could be saying an awful lot.
Oh, yes. A lot of enthusiasm with our communication then, which could be really quite good because I think with the Mercury retrograde, we held back so much and there were so many misunderstandings and confusion and really looking back over old things. So this is the time to start afresh, to really think about, okay, maybe I've got new ideas. Maybe, I want to talk about a new project with somebody in my life. So that's kind of exciting. However, then we've got Mercury quincunx Pluto. So I don't know how I feel about that. What are your thoughts about the quincunx to Pluto? It feels a little uncomfortable to me.
Yeah, it sort of echoes the fact that Jupiter's in Scorpio. What I would kind of say about it is that it is this very expansive aspect. Let's talk about it. Let's open things up. Mercury's going direct now. It all feels kind of good. And then it's sort of that quincunx to Pluto is, it's almost like this is a great plan, but we can't do it because, like there's a little bit of this kind of, you're not quite sure. I think, it's like, it's the kind of thing like, you want to go to a party, Mercury in Leo and Pluto in Capricorn is just saying, but you got to work late. And it's a little of that kind of feel. I don't really think it'll be a major thing for relationships at all, but I think that, we could, certainly communication could be a little bit tense for reasons that you're not even quite sure about.
And also think we might suddenly find ourselves going from a conversation, when you're chit-chatting with a friend over coffee and it's kind of lighthearted, and then suddenly you find yourself saying something that plunges you both into kind of, unexpected depths or things that had been long forgotten about or whatever. And you're looking at each other thinking, did that just come out of my mouth? What did I open up? So kind of really opening up a can of worms, maybe at a time when that's really not what you want to do.
That really could happen. Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. It's the kind of energy when you just blurt something out and you don't realize that you said the exact wrong thing at this point in time. You've hit somebody's sensitive spot and you had no idea you were going to do so.
Yeah, and then you're trying to backpedal.
Yeah. Well, what I meant to say was. But you know what? Really, as we get towards the end of the week, the moon in Aries still has a lot of energy, which is great. It's fiery. It's very outgoing. And then for the weekend, Thursday, Friday, and a good part of Saturday, we got moon in, and all Saturday. We have moon in Taurus, right? That's Friday, Saturday, and it's a Sunday. And that's in nice aspects, and I think it's going to be really nice.
Well, it's such a sensual moon, isn't it? And it's such a wonderful moon for going out and having a great meal with somebody, even with friends or with loved ones or with family or whatever, just really enjoying the sensual pleasures in life, having a massage, buying something nice, something that feels nice, luxurious. It's really, I always think of the moon in Taurus time as, really treating ourselves well, really pampering ourselves, really nurturing ourselves and really loving ourselves. So there's much more that feeling of kind of, and of course, if we nurture ourselves, then it's easier to care about other people because we feel full and so we can give to others. So it's really a fabulous weekend. I mean, certainly a wonderful weekend to go on dates and spend really quality time with loved ones.
You have a lot of energy from the moon. It's still coming into the last quarter. It's not totally waning yet. Really good signs, nice aspects. I really like the end of the week. It's going to be fun.
So enjoy, everyone, and keep in mind that we've also got a blog on our website on Mars retrograde and Mars going direct, so you might want to reread that just to see what's going on. And we will see you all next week.
All right, bye-bye, Margaret.
Bye-bye.